Hello, my name is Virgil Schmitt. I'm an extension field agronomist with Iowa State University in far eastern and southeastern Iowa. Today we are here in some demonstration plots at the Southeast Research and Demonstration Farm near Crawfordsville. These plots are demonstrating what we call integrated weed management. I think we all know that we rely very heavily on herbicides for weed management. And we have recently been having some issues with resistance occurring in those weed populations. Dr. Andrew Fauci, our COVID-19 person, early in his tenure said, it's important to reduce the amount of virus in circulation to minimize the chances that mutations are going to occur. The same concept occurs in weed management. If we want to avoid the development of resistance, extend the usefulness of those herbicides out as long as possible, we need to take the pressure off of the herbicides using some other techniques. So what we are doing here is looking at some low-hanging fruit that will really help us to do that. These plots are based upon some work done by Dr. Prashant Jha at Iowa State University. One of the things that he is looking at is integrated weed management systems in both corn and soybeans. They will put an emphasis on the soybean phase of his work here. He compared 4 different treatments. He looked at 15 versus 30-inch rows, and he looked at cover crops versus no cover crops. And so we had 15-inch rows with and without cover crops, 30-inch rows with and without cover crops. And as you can see, the data in the upper right here, where he talks about the timing of the applications of the cover crop the year before, and then you can see that from an herbicide program, what was used was dual as a soil apply product, and then glyphosate as a post-emergence product. This area is known to have glyphosate-resistant water hemp. This just shows a little bit some of the results where 4 of those plots come together with each treatment. The way this slide works is that the 30-inch rows are in the upper 2 slides. The 15-inch rows are in the bottom 2 slides. The left side is without a cover crop. The right side is with cover crops. You can see the less amount of water hemp we have as we go from 30-inch rows down to 15-inch rows. Those 15-inch rows weren't perfect, but they did take a considerable amount of the pressure off of the herbicide program. Likewise, if we go from left to right, we go from without cover crops to with cover crops. And again, the right pictures show less pressure than what we have on the left side. So the cover crops, again, not perfect, but they take a lot of the pressure off of the herbicide program. And of course, the coup de grace is if you go from the upper left, which is 30-inch row, no cover crop, to the lower right, 15-inch rows with cover crop, look at how much pressure we have taken off of the herbicide system. And so what Dr. Jha found was that, first of all, he found that that did not affect soybean yields. I wouldn't do that with corn, but he found that did not affect soybean yields. And along with that, he found enhanced efficacy of the post-emergence program. This provides us a little bit greater flexibility in timing. There is long-term reduced weed seed bank. And obviously, we also reduce the herbicide exposure to the number of weeds. We have fewer weeds being exposed to the herbicide, and so we have fewer chances for resistance to develop. Now, with that as background, let's take a look at what we're seeing here at the Southeast Research and Demonstration Farm. So here we are in the plots at the Southeast Research and Demonstration Farm near Crawfordsville. On my right, your left, we have 30-inch rows with no cover crops, and on my left we have 15-inch rows with cover crops. You can see the weeds that we have here. We have some water hemp over here. We have some mare's tail here. And then as I move over into the 15-inch rows, they're not perfect. We have a water hemp over there, and I can see another one over here, and I can see a couple right in here. But again, the weed pressure is considerably less on the 15-inch rows than it is on the 30-inch rows. Right behind me here, we have with cover crop. and in front of me we have without the cover crop. And if I go over here to the 15-inch rows, I'll start here. This is kind of the coup de grace that I talked about a little bit earlier. These were planted into standing rye, and then the rye was terminated afterwards. And again, it's not perfect. Boy, there aren't very many weeds out here at all. And on my right, your left, we have a cover crop with the 30-inch rows. And again, as you look at this, there really aren't very many weeds here either. So the cover crop really helped. And so we're finding here the same thing that Dr. Prashant Jha found, and that is that the 15-inch rows take pressure off of the herbicide system. The cover crops take the pressure off of the herbicide system, and you combine the two, it takes a lot of pressure off the system. Now, if you come to our field day on September 9th at 1:30 p.m. here at the research farm, you'll have the chance to actually come out and walk these plots and see for yourself, and also to get more details on what we are doing here.